Now, the All-Ireland Championship is very much heating up. Limerick are looking to retain their title once again. Very happy to say that the 2020 Hurler of the Year is with us, Gearoid Hegarty, and he's talking to us as part of the launch of Bord Gáis Energy's State of Play campaign, which is all about promoting inclusion in team sports. So as part of the campaign, Bord Gáis Energy, sponsor of the Hurling Championship, has created 32 limited edition GAA County Pride t-shirts where County Pride meets pride in supporting the LGBTQI plus community. So the t-shirts are on sale. You can get them at hairybaby.com for €20. All the proceeds go to Focus Ireland to support young members of the LGBTQI plus community who are experiencing homelessness. Gearoid Hegarty, great to have you with us.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks for having me on.
On that point, is a GAA dressing room an inclusive place, do you feel?
I feel it is. I feel it can definitely, improve us slightly. I think it's more so Irish culture. Poor Gosh got on to me there a couple of weeks ago to see would I be interested in getting involved in this campaign. And, I'm a school teacher as well. That'll be my day job. We're on summer holidays now, thankfully. But, dealing with young people growing up, trying to find their way in life and trying to figure out who they are, I just thought that getting involved in this campaign was something that I was very interested in, because obviously I am a school teacher dealing with young people, but I'm also heavily involved in sport, be it coaching young people in school and also obviously involved in an intercounty dressing room. I just feel that, getting involved in this, it's going to promote more awareness around the LGBTQI plus community. And also, sport is such an inclusive thing, everyone is completely included in sport. And I think sport is a great way to show and I suppose raise more awareness around this,
Yeah. Well, even in your teaching, you're at the cutting edge of that whole situation, because I've spoken about it on the show and I suspect it was true of anybody my age, kind of mid-30s, growing up in secondary school. The casual language used, I suspect, was very homophobic. It was just, anything not good was described often in homophobic terms, and that was the culture in Irish life, I'm afraid to say.
Yes, similar as myself, when I was in school, that was the way as well.
That
but
improved.
It has, from what I can see, it has improved. Obviously I am in school still every day. Obviously a small bit different for me now that I'm not a student anymore, but again, it just comes back to the education around the and raising awareness around the issue, and how these things are communicated is so important, because as you said, it can be just a throwaway term, but to raise the awareness and the education around the importance of not using that kind of those slang words to have a bit of a mess about it, again, just to be aware of I suppose the damaging aspect that can have.
Yes, and I don't want you to, not specific to your school, because I wouldn't want to put undue pressure on anyone, but generally, like, again, in my experience growing up, for instance, in secondary school, nobody in my school was openly gay. I suspect they looked at the general atmosphere and it was not one where they thought, well, I'm going to share this with the masses, quite understandably. Has that changed, or hard to tell beyond your own immediate experience?
No, I think it has changed. Thankfully,
Right.
I think it has changed. I think young people nowadays growing up are much more comfortable, I suppose, in expressing who they are. Again, getting back to why I got involved in this campaign with Bord Gáis was, I just feel that it's important for young people and people in general just to be whoever they want to be.
Hmm.
I think it's a simple message. It's something that I've always felt strongly about. Just be whoever you want to be, because it's your own decision. Don't be too worried about what other people think. And I suppose
Yeah.
that is the reason why I got involved in this, to raise awareness around, basically allowing people and getting more people to feel comfortable to be whoever they want to be.
Yeah.
But no, I think it is becoming more prevalent in schools. Definitely, I think young people are becoming more and more comfortable. And again, it's just getting to a stage in Irish culture where these things are just the norm would be great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And female sports definitely ahead of male sports. Who knows why? I mean, any variety of reasons, but certainly, again, that experience growing up, we prize, not least GAA, manliness and being tough. And so those more derogatory terms to talk about failings in sport or being soft, again, that's where that homophobic language probably crept in for a lot of my time growing up. Again, you hope that dressing rooms are far more sensitive in how they use language and how they talk about things, and the fact that we have so few openly professional male sports people, it speaks volumes still, unfortunately.
It does again, and I would assume that's why Borgash are launching this campaign. Because the statistics show that there has to be several inter-county players currently that are probably part of the LGBTQI plus community, and that's just the way it is. And obviously they don't feel in a position yet to be able to express how they feel properly. And it is it is a shame. It is a shame, but I think we have made great strides in our country as a whole in terms of our culture over the last number of years. But again, as I said at the start, we still have a bit to go. So
Yes.
I think we're getting there, but it's as I said, we do have a small bit more to go yet.
Yeah, good man. Look, it's a good initiative to get involved with. So, secondary school teacher, enjoying your summer holidays. Good man. Delighted for you. We're all thrilled for you. Why teaching?
To be honest with you, I wasn't really sure. I was in school and I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. Even when I was in my Leaving Cert year, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. And I was kind of humming and hawing. And all my close friends were actually going doing business in UL. And I kind of I went with the pack. And I said, I love business in school when I was there. And I said, you know what, business in UL sounds good. It's only over the road for me. So I went and did that. And again, I was kind of plodding my way through the first couple of years. And I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. And then by about third year, I was kind of coming around to the idea of teaching. I think it really appealed to me. To be honest, it's just simple things like just my girlfriend was doing a teaching course at the time, and she was talking about it, and it interested me a lot. And even just help. I know it probably may sound a little silly, but just helping I've 3 sisters and a brother, and my youngest sister at the time was in primary school, and just helping her with her homework in the evenings with things like maths and stuff, just getting her from a point of not understanding a simple sum to understanding it. It just, there's a nice little sense of satisfaction in doing that. And I said I'd just go for it. Again, I wasn't 100% sure whether I would like it or not. And I threw myself into the deep end. I did a master's in a PME in UL in business teaching. And 4 years into teaching now in Desmond College in Newcastle West, and I love it. So things worked out in the end, thank God.
Great. And that small sense of satisfaction from helping your sister learn something she couldn't understand, has that flowed through to your teaching career? Do you get that sense of satisfaction?
I do. Look, teaching gets a little bit of flack in the mainstream media from time to time, but it is a great job. I do love going into Desmond every day, and I'm a business and maths teacher, but I'm also teaching other things like LCP and LCA. And what I love about teaching is that every 40 minutes you're going to a new classroom with new kids, with new students, and the environment is constantly changing. It's fresh, it's constantly fresh. Every day is a new day. So it's a lovely job and it suits me, so I'm happy enough.
Listen, I can totally relate. I did English and history in college, and I was very close to being a teacher, and that sense of satisfaction you talked about there, where you help someone do something, it's a very real thing. It's a very satisfying thing. It's a lovely thing.
Yeah, it is, and I suppose that is the basis of what I try and do every day when I go in, and it is a great sense of satisfaction when you can get a group, more so a group, not necessarily even one person, but a group of people to go from not understanding something to understanding something. I know it sounds simple, but it is a nice sense of satisfaction that you get.
Oh, fantastic. So tell me this, Munster final, you score yet another outstanding goal in your lengthy catalogue. Do you stroll into school the next day? People, come on. What, everyone, applaud me.
Yeah.
You're the main man walking down the hallways, high-fiving everyone.
No, well, we were actually finished up. We were on summer holidays. So we finished up on the Friday. We finished up on the Friday just before the Munster finals. So
nuisance. You didn't get the acclaim.
No, I didn't. I didn't get to go into school on the Monday morning. I was resting and recovering on the Monday morning, as you can imagine. But look, it was one of the sweeter ones.
That's beautiful. See, you're going to do the GA thing here and be like, look, and
no, it was look, it was definitely the best goal I've ever scored. I'd be surprised, but hopeful if I ever score a better one than that. I'm not sure if I will, but to score the Munster final in a packed hurlers, Limerick and Clare, there's a massive rivalry going on through the years. Conditions were tough on the day, so it was a special one for sure. I'm not taking away from it at all. I'm sure I'll be reminded of it forever when in years to come.
What a roar! It must have felt like the whole place erupted.
It did, and I normally don't go too mad. I've been lucky enough to score a couple of goals over the last number of years. I don't go too mad. I kind of give at the bite. A few of my friends kind of give me a little slag for the little finger wag that I normally do, but I kind of found myself just jumping up into the air as well. I got caught up in the emotion of it all because it was such an incredible atmosphere, especially at the start of the game and the parade and stuff like that. So Yeah, look, it's great. It's a great moment to think back on, but hopefully there's more to come soon.
Yeah, no, look, you're in the chosen few who get to do something like that, because you strike the ball and you do this thing and it prompts this reaction in thousands of people there, and
Hmm.
for you to be kind of on the pointed end of that, saying I did that, I'm kind of made all that happen. I mean, that's an electric kind of feeling. So it's an amazing catch, Tom Morrissey, the catch and the pass, you flicking it over the defender before you struck the ball, totally instinctive. I'm sure you don't have time to
Yeah.
weigh these things up as such.
No, I don't. Like I was kind of joking with Tom after the game. Like he said, he didn't even know where I was. He just heard me, and he knew kind of the vicinity that I was in, so he just popped it over. And like obviously, it was a wet day, and controlling the ball was a little difficult. So my first touch, I actually kind of miscontrolled it and set me over to the left a bit, and then I could see Claire jersey coming in from my peripheral vision on the left. So as you said, it was just instinct to just. I knew he was closing off my path to goal, so I had to do something to get out of his way. So I said I might
Yeah.
as well try to bring the ball with me, and I suppose the rest worked out. The rest worked out perfectly.
Yeah, oh man, you got to enjoy moments like that. You're a soccer fan as well, aren't you?
I'm big Liverpool fan.
Oh, are you? Okay. So, I
Yeah,
mean, even Nathan Collins the other night for Ireland, I guess in a way you can relate to how those moments happen and unfold, and before you know it, he's chopping it past someone, and then, oh God, I
yeah,
better finish. I mean, these things, this is sport at its best and purest, isn't it?
yeah, for sure. And look, they're the goals you score, I suppose, out the back when you're a young kid, pretending that you're up in Croke Park or pretending that you're above in the Viva or wherever in Anfields. They're the goals that you dream of scoring, and you never really know where they're going to come off. But to score one like that you dream of is an incredible feeling for sure.
Come here, I didn't realize your father played for Limerick.
He did. My father heard from him for a long time. Yeah, he won a minor in 1984, won a 21 in 1987, and played in 94 finally, was injured in 96. He played with Limerick for a long time. So, good, come from good stock.
Because through the magic of technology, what I have in my laptop screen here, I have you on my left, I have me in the middle, and then on the right, I have a picture from the Irish Independent of your dad holding newborn Gearoid a couple of days ahead of the '94 All Ireland final. And your mother is from Offaly, just to make things
Yeah, she is.
all the better. So, like, I'm seeing a photo of you sleeping on your father's arm there in the Irish Independent.
Yeah, I think the Independent came down to the house in Limerick. I think a couple of weeks, 2 weeks maybe before the All Ireland final in '94, and obviously they would have been on in September at that time. And I was born in the 10th of August '94, so I was about 3 weeks old, let's say, by the time they came down.
Right.
And interestingly enough, like even growing up, my mother always says that I was my father's first possession that day. They said, and Gearoid Hegarty's on the ball, and I wonder is Gearoid in the crowd, me Olimar Hurtig, the great me Olimar Hurtig. So I always say, growing up, even if I don't get to an All Ireland final, I could always say I was mentioned in one. So
God,
cool little
amazing.
story. Yeah.
Amazing. I'm not sure in modern day GAA would that be allowed to happen that close to an All Ireland final and
Mm,
photos and all that
probably
stuff. But
not. Probably not. Things have
yeah.
changed. Things have changed slightly for better or for worse.
And was it always hurling for you as a result, or did you dabble in other sports?
No, I played every sport growing up. To be honest, golf, soccer, rugby. Obviously hurling and football. I swimming. I did everything, but hurling was always the number one sport, like without a doubt. But I played minor with Limerick for 2 years, but never got a look in, and I kind of got a little bit.
You
I
never,
wasn't really getting anywhere. Wasn't really getting
you
anywhere, and
never,
then I
you
got
never
I
got a
got
look in at minor.
no, I didn't know. No, that's been widely documented. I've
Right.
spoken about
Okay.
that before. Never made the. I was a sub. I was a sub when I was under 17. I was on it for 2 years. I actually made the bench when I was under 17, and actually didn't even make the bench when I was a full minor. So I went backwards from 17 to 18. But I kind of got, I kind of got a little bit, I kind of got it just a little bit round off with hurling, and I got a break with the football. I went in playing football for Limerick for 2 years, and that just completely it changed my complete outlook and everything. And it got me introduced to strength and conditioning and training hard and being involved in an inter-county setup, and it definitely gave me the springboard then to get on the under 21 panel in 2015. John was obviously training us, and we went from there. But yeah, like it's an interesting one for sure.
Yeah. And your father now, is he very hands off and look, you do your thing, I did my thing, or is he a
No,
big part of it?
no,
And
very hands off, very
good.
hands off.
Okay.
Yeah, leaves me do my thing. He doesn't. He wouldn't even ring me before a match or anything. He'd love to talk to me after a match, right? But he's completely hands off. Like he would have brought me to the field as a young fella 5 or 6 nights a week when he was still kind of trying away with the club and he was kind of just finishing up. But he used to bring me to the field the whole time. But nowadays, obviously growing up and not living at home anymore, he lets me do my own thing for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Because like, geez, I honestly, I kid you not, like you're one of my favorite players to watch. I feel sorry for whichever defender you jog over to at the start of the match, because I just think, like, how do you handle this lump of like, you're just a nightmare. And I would look at you and I think it's quite interesting now. Like, here's one of Limerick's, one of the best athletes of his generation. And I'm sure Munster Rugby would love to have this fella playing in the back row or, around the field for them. I'm sure people have said that to you. Geez, you would have been lethal at rugby and a professional sporting career. Did that ever cross your mind in any serious way?
No, it didn't. It didn't. I played a small bit of rugby with Richmond growing up. They'd be my local club down the road for me. But I never really played it. Like, I only played 1 or 2 games with them and they were stuck. I never played rugby in school or anything like that. I always felt, my father always said it was played at the wrong time of year. It's played in the coldest conditions. It's over during the summer when the nicest weather is there, and that just never appealed to me. I'm not a fan of the cold, to be honest with you. So I don't know. I'm not a huge. I don't know what I've been a good rugby player now, to be honest. But I wouldn't have minded if you were getting well paid for it either. So
yeah,
there's pros and cons to it.
So on your holidays now, are you effectively training most days like full-time athlete, or how are you filling your time?
No, just we train when we train. You might train twice during the week, train at the weekend, and maybe 1 gym session, and that's all it is. And outside of that, then I just go about my life as normal.
Right.
It is good that being a teacher, obviously during the summer, plenty of time to recover between sessions and things like that. But no, just go about your life as normal. Like the golf US Open, I will be on this weekend. I'll be glued to that. I might play a few games of golf here and there over the next few weeks and things like that, and just relax and go to the beach and just chill out and have some nice normal life as well.
Nice.
Outside of hurling.
So, do you consider yourself a hurling obsessive, and you're thinking about it a lot? I mean, it sounds like you've got plenty of other things going on. Or where does it kind of feature? From when you wake up first thing in the morning?
Yeah. Well, look, I try not to think about it too much, but it is the number one dominant thing in my life. Everything does revolve around the hurling. I kind of try plan out my week around training and things like that. But say on a day off, if we didn't have hurling training or anything like that, like, I wouldn't think about it at all. Like, I would the hurley be left in the room. It wouldn't be coming out too much. But obviously, it is still the most important thing in my life.
Yeah.
And you got to prepare accordingly and train as hard as you can and recover when you can. But there's more to life than just worrying about hurling 24/7 too. I actually don't think that's the best way to even go about things, in terms of, if you want to play your best hurling, I think you do need to be able to switch off and switch on as well.
I would think you're right. Can I ask you a question here? I asked this without agenda because I actually don't know the answer to this, because this hadn't jumped out to me before. Your red card against Galway, and Donal Logue afterwards says that Hegarty has a fierce habit of flicking back with the hurl. Now, I presume somewhere along the last couple of months you've heard that was said.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Is that a fair comment? Like, when you heard that, was there a bit of you going, "Feck, I wish you hadn't said it," but there's a bit of truth in that, or is that off the mark in your opinion?
Look, he's entitled to his opinion. It didn't bother me. He's getting paid by RTE to provide his opinion and to provide his punditry, and he's entitled to that. It didn't bother me at all. Was it stupid what I did that day against Galway? It was. Did I deserve to be punished? I did, and I was punished. So things like that happen, and you just got to learn from them. But no, like, it wouldn't have bothered me too much. As I said, He's entitled to his opinion. I'd be fairly strongly opinionated myself.
But was there a grain of truth? Was there a grain of truth in it though, or was it off the mark?
There was that day. There was that day.
But generally, would you feel that there's a grain of truth in it?
Maybe a little bit. Yeah, I have got a couple of I would call them stupid yellow cards, and maybe the Waterford game this year, I think I got one, and maybe the Tip game too. But yeah. Possibly there might be something to it. I don't know. But look, the game is there to be played. The game, I always play on the edge. I think we play on the edge as a team, and we're never going to stop that. I think that's what brings the best out of us.
But as soon as you stop playing on the edge, you're dead.
Yeah, and that's the way it is, and that's what people. Sometimes I think there may be a little opinion out there about us that we play on the edge. We do, but everybody does. You have to. You have to. Like you look at the Munster final last day. If you were down at the Munster final last day, or even watching on TV, there was 2 teams playing to the absolute limit, and that's the way it should be played. And that's why it was one of the best games of hurling that there has been for a long, long time, because it was played that way. And in fairness, it was refereed that way. So that's why it makes it such a great spectacle.
When's the last nice team that won an All-Ireland? Like, it's not how the world works. It's senior hurling. It's tough. Because even Rory Hayes, Peter Duggan, I think a lot of people looked on and thought, like, it's 70 minutes of tough stuff, and like this is the reality, and we're freeze framing stuff, and we're talking about it in the cold light of day, and then they get done, and actually nobody really that I've spoken to within the game kind of had a massive issue with what happened, well, like with what they did, and thought, oh, this really needed to be poured over. Like there is a degree of, look, how did we feel about it at the time, and can we just get on with it a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Look, they should have been punished in the game, but I'm not a
Yeah.
huge fan of maybe going back and pouring over footage. I also feel like when you slow things down, everything looks way worse,
Yeah.
in slow motion and things like that. Look, maybe the referee could have been helped out a small bit more by his officials on the day. A couple of those incidents happened really close to where the umpires would have been standing. I'm not sure if they saw it or not, but yeah, as I said, I'm not too sure about the retrospective action. I think if I put myself in their shoes, it'd be a tough one to take now if you were banned for a following game. So I'm not too sure. It is a tricky one, to be fair.
Yeah. Uh, do you feel if Limerick play their best stuff, they'll pretty much beat every team in the country? Is that how you view things, or are you?
Look, I don't know what I say it as strongly as that, but I feel like if we go out and perform and we hit, I suppose, all the indicators that we want to hit, and we, I suppose, get to the pitch of the game and things like that. I feel like we always put ourselves in a great position, and then it just comes down to making the correct decisions and nailing your shots and things like that. But we'd always be very confident that if we perform, that we will be thereabouts, and that's all you want to be. In the last 10-15 minutes of the game, you want to be thereabouts, and trust that you'll get over the line from there.
Would there tend to be a loud dressing room at halftime?
No, not really. Not really. It'd be probably a lot calmer than what people think. There isn't too much roaring and shouting, to be honest, that goes on in the dressing room. I suppose it may depend on how the game is going, but no, it wouldn't be anything too manic. There'll be players having little conversations in their little pods, and then there'll be a group chat before we go back out. But there'll be a lot of just sitting down, getting your breath back, having a drink of water, having a drink of Lucid, and relaxing for a couple of minutes.
And what's your pod, the half forward line?
Yeah, well, you'll be sitting beside the lads that you're talking out beside, So I'd be sitting beside the midfielders and half hours. That's just the way you're lined out with your jerseys and stuff. So.
And would you have license, say, their left half back for some reason seems to be the ball seems to be worked to him, and he's getting clearances without pressure being put on him, and you and your pod are saying, why is that? What's happening there? What are they doing? Oh, they're doing that. Can you need to do this, and then I'll get there and we'll stop them having that out ball. Do you have license within your pod to make those decisions yourself and work that stuff out?
Yeah, that's exactly the kind of conversations we'd be having. That's pretty much nailed on exactly what you're saying there. We'd be talking about maybe things that they're doing well and how we try and stop them and stuff like that.
Yeah. What's your relationship like with John Kiley? Would you talk often?
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily individually or anything like that. Obviously, John he's there training every night, and he chats us as a group. But I wouldn't be chatting to him individually too much. No.
Yeah, I guess no news is good news in that front.
Exactly. You took the words out of my mouth. If John is ringing you, it mightn't be. It's normally not great, but I know. To be fair, look, he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to speak to us individually too much. Thank God.
Will you, as a last kind of thought, so this you're one of these lucky people in that right time, right place, and have all the gifts, so that you know the Dublin footballers, the Kilkenny hurlers, any of the teams we talk about, the players come on and they say afterwards, man, I'm just so lucky I was in that team at that time, and like ride that wave for all it's worth. Like, do you have numbers in mind or targets in mind which, when you get into your 40s and 50s, will allow you to say, yeah, made the most of that? That's the metric by which I'll look back in my career and feel satisfied, either making history or just winning X number of All-Irelands. Or do you use a different metric? Could, like, if your career kept going now and you didn't, you lost a couple of close All-Irelands and that was it, what you've won, but you never quite won it again for some odd reason, would it irk you? Do you think in those terms about where you want to be when it's all over?
Honestly, no, I don't. I don't think about metrics. I don't think about in years to come. I don't think about when I'm retired, what I want to have won and what I want to have played and etc. etc. Honestly, I just focus on. I'm not even focused on the semi-final, to be honest. I'm just focused on this week of training. I'm just focusing on training tomorrow. We've training tomorrow night, and just getting prepared as best I can for training tomorrow night. I know it can be the boring answer, and it's not the great answer that people want, but that's just the way we deal with it as a team. We don't focus. We never look too far down the line. We go week by week, and as I said, I'm just focusing on training tomorrow night and then getting ready for Sunday, and that's it.
Yeah, well, I mean, potentially the
You
way to
gotta,
go.
you have to live in, the present a little bit, because I personally, I feel once I start looking down the line, looking into the future, that's when you get complacent, and that's how you get caught.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. And also, like, those targets can be limiting. I mean, if you like your golf, then you'd know the name Bob Rotella. And I was just reading his
Mm.
latest book. And he made an interesting point. He said, as soon as you aim for a target, you can set a limit for yourself. So he reckons it's a perverse thing to say, maybe. He thinks, like, Nicholas having 18 majors hindered Tiger. And he says, like, if Nicholas had 30 majors and Tiger was going for 30 majors, Tiger might have won 24.
Mm.
But as soon as, like, the target is 18, you tend to go somewhere around that target, which I thought was a very interesting point. I don't know if he's right or wrong on that, by the way.
Yeah.
But maybe just keep doing your thing day in, day out, and see, like,
Yeah.
we'll figure it out when it's all over.
Absolutely, there'll be plenty of time to look back in our careers when we're finished. You know what I mean? There's no point trying to set targets now. We just got to keep going. We're on a good roll, so why not just keep going, doing what we're doing? Don't fix it if it isn't broken, you know.
Well, exactly. Listen, really enjoyed chatting to you. We covered a lot of ground there, Gearoid Hegarty. I should mention again that you're speaking as part of the launch of the Board Gash Energy State of Play campaign. So it's about promoting inclusion, which we discussed there. So there are GAA County Pride T-shirts available in your county colours to support the LGBTQI plus community. So the T-shirts are on sale. You can get them at hairybaby.com for €20. And most importantly, all the proceeds go to Focus Ireland to support young members of the LGBTQI plus community who are experiencing homelessness. Listen, keep it going. July 17th will come around quickly, and then you'll be feet up for the rest of the summer.
Hopefully not.
Good man. Thanks very much. Good luck.
Cheers. Everyone. Bye now.